Welcome to the Pace of Grace in the Wilderness series during our Lent. We're going to be thinking about how to slow down in this season. And as you're invited to these devotionals that we'll be putting out weekly, come and join me and let's see what God wants to teach us. We're going to be going through the book of Exodus, just particular chapters. And I want to show you how God is using the people of God and slowing them down so that they can know Him more. I want to begin in chapter 3. I'm not going to read the whole section, but just want to highlight a few points here. As you know, Exodus 3 is when Moses gets called by God and the burning bush story. What I want to show you is this. First, for Moses to notice the burning bush, he had to slow down to see what is happening. As a shepherd, Moses goes around and bushes that are being that's caught on fire is a normal kind of thing. But for Moses to notice a particular bush that's not being consumed, he had to really slow down and observe and notice. And that's exactly what Moses did. And that's the reason why he was able to hear from God and to be called to the ministry of getting the Israelites out of Egypt. You know, this book that I'm reading, Unhurried Life, right? And we mentioned that before in our series. He talks about he on the West Coast in the Oregon coast. I'm sure it's a beautiful Pacific coast of the Pacific Ocean. And usually he says he and his sons would just drive straight through. And as you're driving down the highway, to your right, there's the ocean. You see the beauty of the ocean line, and it's a wonderful thing. But one time he decided to to ride the bike first. So he and his son rode the bike down the coast instead of driving, and he was amazed at so many things that he saw. And so that's what happens when you slow down. You can't see the nooks and crannies and the flowers and the rocks and the animals and the habitat if you don't slow down. And that's essentially what's happening to Moses, because Moses had to slow down. And if he were just passing through the bushes and doing his thing in the wilderness, he would have never seen that burning bush that wasn't consumed and would not have caught his attention. But this is one of the things that we see here. All right. Another point that I want to make is this. In verses 7 and 8, after God called Moses, God said, in verse 7, I have surely seen the affliction of my people who are in Egypt, and have heard their cry because of their taskmasters. I know their sufferings, and I've come to deliver them out of the hands of the Egyptians and to bring them up out of land flowing with milk and honey. So essentially, God is saying, Moses, you're that guy. But I want you to notice this. How long were the people of God in captivity? And if you total all that, after Joseph, after he died, it was 400 years in bondage. That's a long time. And the pace of grace for God is not in one day or a week. For 400 years, the people of God had to suffer. In the 400 years, that took God to say, it is time. So the pace of God is definitely not our pace. And so during the season of Lent, let's think about this. It's like, you know me, I wanted everything done yesterday. And I'm sure it's like for you as well. But if we're serious about what is God's pace in our lives, it is a lot slower than we think. And I'm hoping that during these devotionals and during the time that we spend together and the 40 days as we enter the season of Lent, we would find God's pace and we will intentionally slow down. We're going to pray together. Some of us are going to be fasting together. We're going to worship God. And as we slow down spiritually, even as a whole church, I'm going to hear from God, and He's going to tell us what to do, and we're going to follow His grace and follow His pace. And I'm excited for that because God is bringing our church into the season to say, yes, we've done a lot of things, but now let's follow His pace. And hope you join me. Every week we'll have various devotions from the book of Exodus. But as a church, I'm excited to see what God's going to do through us. God bless you.